Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you are. I don't know if you're like me this morning, but I have actually been experiencing this insomnia thing. So I've been having a hard time sleeping. So this morning I'm feeling a little ragged, but happy to be with you here at Life is a Sacred Journey and with all my friends on Facebook Live. We did and do have a guest scheduled to join us today. Her name is Deborah Savoy, and she is the executive director of The Point at Rockridge in Oakland, California. And I had invited her to be on this morning because she, at The Point at Rockridge, is doing really well in ensuring that the residents of that assisted living are engaged, getting calls from their family members. She's making sure that all happens, and they at this point have no residents that have been diagnosed with COVID or any staff. She has not joined us yet, so you're stuck with me for a few minutes, and my hope is that she will be joining us. And again, as an assisted living operator, something may have come up that delayed her, but my hope is that she will call in. And so I wanted to first of all say thank you to my producer Felicia and everything that she is doing and making sure that we are able to bring Life is a Sacred Journey to you every Friday, as well as it was her idea to take it Facebook Live. And so I want to thank you, Felicia, for that, and just really appreciate all the hard work that she does behind the scenes. Felicia was an intern here along with a group of other folks here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, along with a group of other folks, and started so many programs here that we continue to just operate under. Good morning, Sister Susie. It's good to see you this morning. I'm seeing your names pop up as you're coming on board. So thank you. Share. Please share Life is a Sacred Journey. Good morning, Carla. Good morning, Susie. Good morning, everybody. So I just want to say, share it with other people, because I think this is really, really important. It's not about me. I'm not doing this for me. We started Life is a Sacred Journey so that we could be an informational forum for caregivers, to assist them in areas of their caregiving. So it was really important to us to do that. I want to do my act of kindness this week. So I was looking online to try to find an act of kindness. There's so many things going on, but I did want to bring up a group of young children. So these are little people back east that decided during their time in the classroom online that they were going to donate money so that masks could be made for first responders. And so they, this little classroom, and I'm trying to figure out the name of it, and I apologize, young people, but it's not coming up, the name of the school. But these young people did this together. They raised money online, got it out to the community, got masks made, provided the materials for that to happen. And this time, little people, middle school, I think elementary school kids are doing something. So that means we all can do something as we shelter in place. We don't have to feel like we can't. And so I just want to thank all of you that are out there doing something to help somebody else. An act of kindness is not only makes the other person feel like they're connected to another human being, but it also helps us. Every time I do something for somebody else, I just feel so good inside, and so it becomes almost addictive that you just want to keep doing and keep doing. So figure out what your act of kindness will be over the weekend or the next couple of days, and let's do something during this time that will make us feel good and also help somebody else. So I'm not sure, Deborah, is this you? Did you join us? I have a caller. Is this caller?
It's Carla.
Okay, good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I know how tied up some of the staff are, so I'm just doing the work in the trenches. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for the listeners out there today that maybe aren't going into a workplace of things that they could do to help our assisted living and to support them during this time.
Yeah, you're right. I think that Deborah might have got caught up at the facility this morning with something because she is caring for lives within her facility, and we really wanted to change the conversation from a doom and gloom conversation to a conversation where a congregated facility was being successful and not experiencing COVID-19, meaning no one was being diagnosed with it. So, I think, Carla, that's a really good question. Carla McManus is the program director here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. And she said, what can we do? What can we all do to help those first responders or those individuals that are working at assisted livings? And I think the best thing that we can do, one, if we know somebody that's going to work every day to care for someone, and you can see that they're leaving their house, then they're not just going out because they're tired of being in their house. You can see they have on scrubs. They look like a first responder or someone going to care for others. Put a sign up in your window that just says, "Thank you for what you're doing." Go to, again, using social distancing. You can go to a facility. I was thinking about this the other day, Carla, about going to the local assisted living near my house and just calling them ahead of time and say that I would be out there just to wave and say, "How you doing?" To the people that live inside, so that they're just not so isolated. Because while there may be people living in the facilities with COVID-19, there's still a whole bunch of people that are living in these facilities without COVID-19. And not all of them have the ability to use their laptops or whatever and do Zoom. That's the other thing that I've learned. I was so assumptive that everybody had the capability of using Zoom, or knew how to use it, or had what do you call these phones? The new phones. Here I go aging myself, friends. But the new kind of phones, and they still are using flip phones that don't even have the capability for video. They don't even have the opportunity to use Facebook. So, any way that we can reach out. It's interesting going back to the old phone. I got rid of my landline a couple of years ago, and now I'm wishing that I didn't, right? So that I could call more people, because I also have this paranoia about having the cell phone to my head, along periods of time. So, Carla, what do you have any ideas that you'd like to share with everybody that you think we could do more of? I know, you've been to the point, and you know how assisted livings work. You've also worked in those environments. So what could we do to let those folks in those assisted livings know we're thinking about them, and how could we support them? Are you there? I think I lost Carla.
Something that we found really helpful.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, can hear you.
Okay. Something that we found helpful with our seniors, although we have a small number who can get out, is we do have a lot that are still in home. So getting friendly visitors. So if you have time and a phone, volunteer with some of the different organizations, we've been using like eldercare.
Oh, okay.
Volunteer to be a friendly visitor so that all you have to do is call someone and chat with them for a few minutes of your day. Because I know that, we're using them like crazy, so I'm sure they would appreciate some help.
Yeah. Yeah. So the senior living facilities are really in need also of PPE, personal protection equipment. I know people are making masks. I have lots of masks that people are making. We've received a lot of them here at Alzheimer's Services. But the new thing that we're finding that we really need a lot of are the plastic barrier shields. And we have ordered them ourselves for our facility and just cannot find them. They're on back order. But I did go online and see that Michael's has a pattern on how to make them. So if there's a group of people out there that feel like they want to make the mass barriers for assisted livings to be delivered to them, I'm sure they would love that. And gloves, I know are always a commodity for us. And then any kind of barrier equipment that they can wear. We call it personal protection equipment, but it's really like a jumpsuit. If we could get disposable ones or ones that can even be washed, that would be something that I think assisted livings sending I know they're not allowed. I'm not sure what the rules are, but send them. I know I got some strawberries. We got strawberries from a group of families that wanted to let us know how much they appreciated us being here. So sending a basket of fruit, sending flowers, sending cards, making cards, and you don't even have to know the name of the resident, but you can go online and find out how many beds are in that facility and just, write a card, dear friend, and send 100 of them to your local assisted living or senior living facility. So that's really, really easy to do. Those are things that will support people who are helping people. I always like it when people send me a card in the mail. I love cards. So just send a card out to somebody and let them know that you're thinking about them. If you have a senior that you're caring for, or seniors in your churches or in your community centers that you are no longer able to congregate together for the groups, because how important socialization is to our seniors, putting together a little activity kit. I think we had one. Here's one. Yeah. So we put together these little activity kits, and I love them. It's just a hefty bag that you can. It's a plastic bag, so it can be wiped. That's one thing that we made sure that everything could be wiped down, and that we did everything with gloves on. So we put this whole package. It's no longer. It would have to be cleaned again because I don't have gloves on. But we sanitized made sure our hands were covered for everything that went inside. And then once it was sealed, each bag was also sanitized on the outside. And they're going to be going out as well. My friend Susie is telling me that they think the delivery of packages, you can deliver packages. So you could put these together, and there's a balloon in here. There's a card that was put in here on what the activity is for. There's a glue stick, a couple of pencils, a word search. Let's see what else. A reminiscent. Oh, a caregiver stress survey for a caregiver. So something for a caregiver. And if it's a faith-based community, you might want to put an affirmation or a prayer or a Bible verse. So an activity kit is something that can be used by everyone, and just, your focus or what you may be. We're a nonprofit, so we're not a faith-based organization. And so we have to be careful because we get funded also by government funding. And even though many of us that work within this setting are people of faith and believers, but we do put things in here that will lift people up. Like there's an affirmation page in here of just daily affirmations to lift the spirits of the caregivers. And again, wherever you're adjusting your activity bag from, this is a time that you can really help people in that way. Letter writing, card writing. The other day, I realized singing. I'm looking at my friend Susie, who attends a church that is in the conference, and she has a beautiful voice, and she was on Facebook, and she just sang a song. I mean, call somebody and sing to them. You know, I know we all remember to sing to another person for their birthday, but we don't always remember that singing is something that just feels so wonderful, and we do it with children. You know, I begin to realize the things that we do naturally with children is we sing to them, we make rhymes for them. Well, do this for the seniors and the people in your life. Just pick up the phone and call them. I think one of my favorite songs to sing when I call my children, and I can't sing, is I Just Called to Say I Love You by Stevie Wonder, and then they finally stop me. They're like, okay, Mom, stop. That's good. Yes, we know we love. So, you know, do that and laughter. I think, Carla, you can attest to this, that in moments of stress here at ASEB, because we are open, when things have gotten really stressful, those moments when, you know, somebody's asking us to turn a document in while we're trying to do other things, or while we're trying to put together bags so that they can be delivered on a weekly basis to almost 100 families. Laughter is the way that we get through it. We just start laughing about things, and that really has helped us to make it through this time. And even with the participants, I know yesterday, Carla, you were telling me that the staff and the participants were just having such a joyous day. Would you share that story with us?
So yesterday, we've got some different staff working in different positions, again, because we're all trying to just make the best of the situation we're in. Yeah. And one of the staff members that's cooking in the kitchen doesn't normally cook in the kitchen, and she was upstairs, and they were chatting away about what they were going to have for breakfast and what everybody likes for breakfast, and what they wanted for lunch and who wanted what for lunch. And one of my other staff members started laughing, and she said, "Oh my gosh, it sounds like you're a short order cook at Denny's in here." Even though it's something that's different, and the participants were like, "I want French toast, we want sandwiches, we want soup," and everyone was just shouting out their favorite things, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to need a notepad," and everybody was just cracking up and laughing and having fun. And, you know, it's so important to see the humor in just some of the situations we're in. It's a serious situation, but we got to keep going. So find those moments where it may seem a little chaotic, and maybe you're not a cook. When I said, "Can you cook?" she said, "I don't know, I have a kitchen." But we just take it in stride and do it anyways. So it's important just to sometimes have fun with the life and just fun with what you're doing, and make fun of yourself. I know you had mentioned that one of the other days. I do that all the time. I was trying to buy paper towels for the program in the grocery store yesterday, and of course it's on the top shelf, so I had to find someone really tall to help me get it down, and him and I stood there and just laughed at it. He goes, "Why do they always put important things on the top shelf?"
I know, that's so funny. And laughing at yourself just really helps to break that anxiety and helps you to go with the flow. I think this is something that in our society today, we've gotten so used to being in control of everything, time, everything, and that we're not used to going with the flow. And so going with the flow is so important. You know, having a schedule, I realize even now, more and more we're having less meetings on Zoom that are so. When we first started in shelter in place, we had a lot of meetings where we were meeting a great deal online every day. Now it's a little more lax. We're doing maybe once a week or every other day for more medical things, but for the operational stuff, it's more once a week. And so, getting out of that chaotic place where when we began to shelter in place with all the unknowns, we didn't understand what was going to be happening. We had to talk to each other, and we had to really figure out some systems and develop new systems. But now, let's get into a little bit more of a rhythm of, okay, I'm going to do business for a little bit of this time during the day, and maybe this time during the day, I'm going to take a little bit of a rest. We've had to advise our social workers because they're doing so much telephonic stuff that we're saying, spend 2 or 3 hours, but then take another 45 minutes to an hour where you're going for a walk, getting a rest from that. Because if you just constantly, and I've done that a couple of days, and actually more than a couple of days, where I've gone from 8 o'clock in the morning with a Zoom meeting all the way until 7 o'clock at night when the last Zoom meeting ended. So I just went from meeting to meeting to meeting. And at the end of the day, I was exhausted. I felt like I had been running a race, as well as mentally exhausted. And then because of my sciatic, I was destroyed. So let's take better care of ourselves also during this pandemic. I've been hearing we may be sheltering in place a little longer. Some of us may be allowed to get out. I think back, I'm going to age myself again, to the gas days when, we went out alphabetically on certain days during the gas shortage. And, we may have to do all kinds of things. But I want to speak to those people that are protesting and getting angry and really, I know it's hard and we all want to get back. I mean, there's so many people or so many things that I would love to have the freedom to do right now instead of just getting in my car, coming to ASAP, getting back in my car and going back home. I mean, that's my life. I'm not stopping. I'm not going anywhere. Thank God I have a daughter that is willing to do our grocery shopping and all of that. And I have no reason to go in any congregate setting, whether it be grocery shopping or whatever. But I'm not angry at our governor or angry at our folks that have to make the decisions to make us safe. And I know there are those that are telling folks, oh, go ahead, do whatever you need to do. We're going to be all right. I know there was a church that held services and I'm a faith person. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian, but there is no way that I would tell people in the name of God to go into a building in a congregate setting now when all of this stuff is going on with COVID-19. There's just no reason for us to do that. Sheltering in place, and I'm refusing to call it a lockdown too. Carla and I also had this conversation. I'm refusing to call it lockdown because when I looked up lockdown and the true meaning of the word lockdown is a military function. It means that you cannot leave your house. There are military police lined up the street and you can't do anything. So that's a true lockdown. I would not have been able to come in and out of my house without some sort of papers and all that. So let's adjust our language so that we're not scaring ourselves and everybody to death by calling it a lockdown. We are calling it shelter in place because that's what it is. We're sheltering in place so that any of us who have not been able to be tested that may be carrying COVID-19 but have no symptoms, that we're not passing that when we're out and about in social settings. So that's what we're in. That's what we're experiencing. And the negative language is just scaring you, scaring your children, scaring the community. So let's get rid of that negative language. Then, yes, There are people who are going into the hospitals, and they are older individuals. They are people of color. They are first responders. They are people who had secondary things going on. Okay, for instance, I have high blood pressure. I also have asthma, and I'm over the age of 60. I have a birthday coming up. You'll soon know what my age is, but I'm over the age of 60. So those are all things that increase my risk if my immune system is already compromised. This is why when in my healthy days and every day, I make sure that I have orange juice, vitamin C, vitamin D. Everybody should be looking at their health care and their health regime. Are we eating foods that help build our immune system? You can go online and figure out what immune system building foods are. And let's not just do it because we're frightened. These are all things that if you ate this way on a daily basis, and you would feel healthier, you would have a better digestive system, and your immune system would be in better condition. Exercise, and again, a 30-minute walk. We're not asking people to go into the gym. I gave up my gym membership a while ago, and now I just do stretches, one, because of my sciatic, but also doing a bicycle, and I have some little weights, and 30 minutes of that, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less. I don't beat myself up. I just do what I can. And then I walk my dogs, as you know, dogs need to be walked. Right now, they're hating me because I'm always constantly looking at them thinking, let's go for a walk, especially since the days have gotten so beautiful here. And they're looking at me going, we do not want to go for a walk. Crazy lady, go sit down. So, so I'm trying not to scare my dogs to death because I love them. So we're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to eat better. We're going to be kinder, not only to the folks around us, but we're going to be kinder to ourselves. I'm the worst person in this area. I'm always beating myself up for what I forgot, what I didn't do, who I wasn't in contact with, what I could do better, all of that. No more. COVID-19 has taught me that I can only do what I can do, and I can only be the best I can be in this moment, in this space, and in this time. So let's all try to figure that out for ourselves. Also, someone had wrote me last week and said, Micheal, one of the things that you said touched me deeply when you said, look at yourself first. And I don't ever want anybody to think I'm beating anybody up. These are things that I've done for myself, because the person that you all know and the person that I hope that you have in respect and love for was not always the person that I was. So I'm only speaking from my experience, where the minute I change my language, and not the minute, that's a saying, but over time, changing my language from positive to negative, from negative to positive, always trying to look at the glass a little bit more full than half full or whatever. Always trying to say, well, what's the other side of this? Instead of constantly looking for the negative in everything, all of that. So all of those little microscopic changes over the last 2 decades of my life have brought me to COVID-19, and not saying I'm not washing my hands or using hand sanitizer, or I've got 50 different types of mask over there for whatever occasion. No, I'm not saying that. But I am getting my rest, and I am doing some of the things that will make me healthier mentally, spiritually, and physically as we go through this time. We are at the end of our 30 minutes here at Life is a Sacred Journey, and I will follow up with Deborah Savoy and get her maybe with us next week so that you can call in and ask questions about what is happening in our senior living facilities. We lift her up right now and hope that all is well there as she's going through her day, taking care of those loved ones, seniors in our community that live at the Point at Rockridge in Oakland. To all of you, Christy, Ola, Peggy, Susie, Carla, all of you that have joined us this morning at Life is a Sacred Journey, I hope you are well as you shelter in place. To all of you who are not local and pick up this podcast all over the world, I hope that you're sheltering in place. Take this time to hug a family member that you're sheltering in place with, as long as you guys know that you've been through that 14 days. Hug and don't let go, because we will get through this together as long as we keep our faith, our hope, and our love. I am Micheal Pope, and I'm your host here at Life is a Sacred Journey, and I wish you a really wonderful weekend. Be wonderful and be blessed. Take care.